Welcome to another episode of Angels, Positivity, and Love. Amazing guests from all over the world with incredible backgrounds, also with amazing insights for us all, whether it's their own journey, their life path, their healing skills, simply how they help others or how they inspire others. They're here to share. And what's incredible about the show, even though it's a very small audience, we just hit 2,000 though. That's a waypoint and it's a start. Make sure you subscribe, like, comment, and share so other people can experience this show. It's very unique. And why? Because oftentimes guests before, after the show, and certainly a little bit during the show, take steps smelling sage. If I blow sage smoke through the screens or chatting with angels or other guides, it's pretty incredible. There aren't too many shows on the globe right now doing that. It's just a smidge more consciousness, love, and kindness. And speaking of which, kindness, love, compassion, somebody who's super dedicated to her path, helping humans and animals, someone who's super conscientious and very connected, not just globally in the whole slipstream of love and joy and healing, someone who more at the cosmos level is plugged in. It's Liz Finlay in Brighton, England. I'm here to welcome her to the show. And I've got to mention, she's a starseed who helps humans and animals, and she's got a way about her. I think you're going to pick up on it pretty quick and just feel her vibe. Liz, welcome to Angels, Positivity, and Love.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Well, it's awesome to see you again. And you've had a lot of experiences, whether it's training or simply using what you've got energetically to assist others, whether we're talking animals, humans, um, or some of the obstacles, the ebb and flow in life. You've had a lot of experience in your life. Can you share the South African experience with us? What happened and how that was a big waypoint in your own life journey?
Right, so the one you're referring to is when angels saved my mom and I from a fatal car accident. We were doing a really long car journey. I grew up in Johannesburg, so we're driving from Joburg, as we call it, to the coast. And it's along the highway or the motorway, and it's driving at top speed. You know, this is the maximum speed limit of any country. And the car in front of us, the entire wheel came off their trailer, not just the tire, the entire wheel. And it was rolling towards us. And then out of absolutely nowhere, this wheel just went to the side of the road and didn't harm anyone, but it was heading straight for us. And you know, I've done some physics at school and all of that. Now, the law of physics did not apply here at all, because it is a rolling object that really has not a lot of you know, changing the trajectory, but certainly not just completely flying off the side there. And even though I was just a teenager, I was, you know, starting to see a healer, kind of dabbling in this world. Um, not a lot, but to the maximum that was afforded to me at the time. My mom and I looked at each other and we both said that was an angel. And we're not particularly religious people or anything like that, but there was just this inner knowing that nothing else explains that. And now, the more that I know, thinking back on that incident, I just keep getting confirmation that yes, it was totally an angel or angels. We were being looked after. And I've seen this. So, through a lot of my training in the books that I've read, I've seen a lot where angels are always ready to help us, but we have to call on them. They will only intervene when there is something like that where it's just not our time to go. My mom and I were not meant to be in a car accident. We're not meant to leave the planet at that point in time. And so they will swoop in and change the course of events and, you know, prevent something that is not meant to be on our timeline like that. However, elsewhere, you do need to call on them. They're not going to just step in and, you know, because there's this law of free will on this planet, and they're not going to meddle with that, but they are always willing to be there when you ask. So yeah, that I'd say that is probably my first conscious memory of that was an angel.
Okay, for free will and how paramount it is, can you tackle this from sort of everybody who's watching is on their own unique life path? And we might not always view everything as favorable. I mean, we've got something that's happened to us health-wise, or a relationship that's not going well, or job stress, or worse, divorce and so on. Can you talk to us about how everything is meant to be a learning expansion experience, and that's why the free will is so important, that we can certainly ask for help from angels. We can talk about that dichotomy of how everything is perfect in one sense, as it is right this second. How do you view it? What can you share with us about all that?
Yeah, look, I won't swear on your show, but I've had some really times in my life um, where in the moment I'm thinking, why? Like, what karma is this? What have I done, to deserve this kind of a thing? And it's just awful. But then coming through it and, being out the other side and looking back, it's just amazing how perfect things appear then. And you're like, oh my gosh. Now, I don't know if your show ventures into the whole higher self thing, but my understanding of all of this is that the higher self will allow certain things that are fairly rubbish to occur, and it's all to do with learning.
Mm.
And sometimes we have to learn through experience. Like you can tell a small child, don't do this, don't do that, it's going to hurt you, and it's you've got their best interests at heart, but often a child needs to learn through just like falling off the bicycle, scraping a knee, and whatever, and you don't want to interfere with that. It is all part of the growing, the evolutionary process of them crafting whatever skill that they have. And if I look at certain things in my life where I think I did not deserve that, um, it has actually helped not only me, but other people. So, for example, and I know your show doesn't go too much into this, but I've experienced my fair share of psychic attack,
Mm.
which is really not cool. However, through experiencing it, I have leveled up. I have thrown every tool I know and, been resourceful looking for more tools. And I have found things that work. And then I share them either through teachings or in meditations. And I've had people come back to me, like on our recent retreat in the Lake District. There was one lady who said she just wanted to share with the group that she hadn't slept properly for one night in ages. I think she said something like a few years. She listened to my nighttime track, which is all about putting up energetic protection before you go to sleep. And she said, I slept. I
Mm.
actually slept through the night. So although my experiences, especially, nighttime psychic attack, I care never to experience him again because they were just so awful. But in experiencing that, I have managed to give something totally for free that is available on YouTube, SoundCloud, Insight Timer, that can help others. And so I think a lot of us, when we're in the middle of the experience, it can just feel very overwhelming, and we actually cannot see the reason why we're experiencing this. But I do encourage your listeners to look back in moments in their lives where things were a bit rubbish and just see, where is the gift? What was the gift? Because I'd say most people usually find something, even if it's, if you look at the example of, a lot of us, I would say more sensitive people, more awakened people can be a bit loose with our boundaries. And even if it's like, right, I got narcissistic abuse, it was really terrible. I've now implemented healthy boundaries. And that is the gift, in that I'm, with grace, implementing boundaries that serve me and my relationships. And I can interact with certain people on better terms and have, rather than feeling drained after an interaction, it can be like, that was all right. So I do think that if you look hard enough, there's usually a gift within all of these situations.
I love it. So with all the contrast, even the parts of it that are maybe lower vibrational, not pleasant, you wouldn't want to do it again. It allows you to also let go of where you don't want to put your focus anymore, and focus more on, we'll call it the positive, or more openness, or more heart, or more, I don't know if it's the pleasant side of it. Can you talk about a law of attraction perhaps, or attracting more positive outcomes, going with the flow in the directions you're meant to go with your unique life path?
Yeah, actually, it was in some of these kind of awakened spiritual circles, people talk of the dark night of the soul.
Mhm.
And it's a period of time where life can just feel like it's almost imploding. It's a bit of a rite of passage. Things are usually getting shaken up in your life where you might not totally be on your life path, and now things are getting real. Your higher self, maybe your angels, your team in spirit are coming through and saying, right, now's the time to get going here. And it's almost like you're going into a cocoon and you're going to become the butterfly. So it was during that time in my life where I had a number of people say, do a gratitude journal. Now, I'd heard this and I was like, do you know what? Things are just so rubbish right now. I just can't even do a gratitude journal. I heard it enough times, and that to me was the universe. I talk about the universe whispering, come on, just do it. This will be good for you. Just do it. When I hear something from enough people, I'm going to start taking notice. So I'll totally admit, I reluctantly started a gratitude journal. And in the beginning, it really was just like, I cannot really see a lot of nice things in my life right now. So, number one, I have a roof over my head. I have running water. I have food in my fridge. So, it's really kind of basic stuff. And with that, slowly, I was then able to see more things, right? I have really supportive friends. Somebody just brought me flowers as a gift, and it's where I was sitting down and placing that attention on, right, today I am going to come up with 3 to 5 points that I am grateful for. And it's that focused attention that made me start seeing more. And then it also says to the universe, this is what I'm looking for. Can you help me find it? And so the universe matches that vibration and starts bringing you more to be grateful for.
Mm.
I mean, and actually, I'd say the most value for me in a gratitude journal was not in actually just the writing of it, because that's what I assumed. I am going to get benefit from sitting down and writing. For me, the greatest benefit was in the really low times in this dark night of the soul, where it's like, wow, this planet is heavy going. I got out the gratitude journal and I read past entries. And it was those moments that gave me a reason to smile and think, do you know what? I can carry on. I can get through this.
Mm. Lovely. Okay, what's one of your favorite lines, mantras, reminders that you can share with us all? That's just about positive living or letting go or allowing more, loving more, show love always. It's your words. What's a great reminder for us all that's short and a good one to use anytime you need a little pick me up?
I'd say it's more of a concept that I embody rather than words that I say to myself. But if I were to put words to it, it would be that each of us holds the power within ourselves. And what I mean by this is, we can go to teachers, we can do courses, we can look to other people to help and guide us. We can even look to the angels, our higher selves, all of that. Ultimately, we have everything within ourselves. And it really is about that power. And I do try and encourage my clients and people who I meet not to give that power away. As in, don't book a healer thinking they'll wave a magic wand. Get people in your life who can support you where they're giving you tools
Mm.
rather than just using their own, that you kind of beholden to them. Get your own tools. And so one of the things that I say is, with anything that I teach or say or my meditation tracks, is use that as a base and you can tweak it however you want. If I bring in a certain angel and you feel you want to work with another angel, do that. If I say we're bringing in ultraviolet fire and you sense like a pink rose fire, go with what you're sensing, because you know what is best for you in that moment. And then don't give your power away by changing it and, oh, Liz says ultraviolet fire, let's go with ultraviolet fire. And I think that's key for everyone, is just follow your own intuition and guidance and just take from other people and teachers what resonates in that moment.
Okay. Can we go down a quick checklist, like basic stuff? Do angels exist? I think you'd say yes. So do angels,
Yeah.
Liz? Okay. And is the universe super big with a lot of different loving beings in it?
Yeah, look, just to be real, you get the loving and the not so loving, but there are a lot of loving beings out there. And, I particularly work with star racers as well as angels. And, it's immense. And I've heard a lot of people talk about a multiverse rather than a universe. I haven't delved enough into that, but I did hear that thinking, wow, that makes a lot more sense to me than a universe. Multiverse might be the more accurate term. And I mean, it's all been existing for way longer than what we realize. And yeah, there are definitely a host of beings out there who are ready and waiting to help.
Is it fair if we stick to the glass analogy? You know, the glass is either half full, full. I say full, overflowing monsoon rain with rainbow light attached to all the water. So it's a really pretty flow. That's my opinion, is it's off the charts positivity. But is it fair to say love's the fabric of the universe? How would you describe? And we could say cosmos or cosmos plus multidimensionality, whatever, just all of it, whatever that is. Is love the fabric of the universe? How do you say it?
Yeah, I think at the center of all of it, and if you go back to source energy, there is this unconditional love that us as humans in this experience right now, I think not many of us can fathom it. I'll be totally honest, I've had experiences of immense love, but I don't think I fully understand this whole unconditional love. I've heard people talk about where they'll meet an angel and just this wave of unconditional love. Um, I've had subtle experiences like that. I'd say it's more help. I know it's out there. And this is why I also say that people's experiences of angels, it's unique to them as well, because I have a knowing. For me, it's this knowing that there is unconditional love and love is at the center. Have I felt it completely as I know it? Not yet. I've had kind of tricklings through. And you get people, I tried to say in my meditations, you either see, sense, or feel the energy or the angel coming through. And I think some people can get bogged down by, well, I'm not seeing the angels, so I'm obviously doing it wrong, or I'm not gifted enough. Well, maybe for that person, it's that they either just know that the angel is there, they sense them. It could be a feeling, even tingles. I sometimes get tingles along my arms with the presence of an angel. So I'm not necessarily seeing with my eye or my third eye. But yeah, in terms of the love that you mentioned, I have the strong knowing that there is this unconditional love for sure. Um, the sensations might come.
I love it. I might share for 30 seconds here, but like 12 years ago, 13 years ago, I'm at a concert in Austin, Texas at Stubbs Barbecue. If you're ever visiting Austin, Texas, and obviously the USA, it's a great barbecue place. Great. They're really smart. They have a sloped hill and it's an amphitheater with bands from like, it was either Ireland's Two Door Cinema Club or M83 out of Paris, alternative band. And it can fit a pretty decent crowd with 6 or 7 bars, no lines, very just good feng shui. And these two women walked by and they said, I think it's him. Now, just to mention the background, was not scared to death, but definitely not the best pupil for paying attention to the universe, tapping your own skills, opening up, allowing. Instead, I think I was there to like not talk to anybody and just listen to the concert and have fun to get away from it all. And that never usually works out too well. The universe has a way of popping up regardless. So these two women walk by, they say, I think it's him. Then they're like, I don't know. And then they leave, they come back, they're like, it's him. And then they showed me how to connect to the universe, but first to ground into the earth, which I think you've probably taught a lot of people on through the feet.
Mm.
Maybe we can have you describe that in a second. But the only way I had to describe this is it was the biggest sensation I've ever had, short of a nasal operation where they finally pull the plugs out. You take your first breath through a nose that's been operated on. I had a deviated septum and some other stuff. Um, and so you take your first breath, and the only way I know to describe that is a UPS truck for sinus passages, and it's the biggest breath you've ever taken. And it was like love flowing through, and I was supposed to shoot it out to everybody. And I don't think I've ever had a bigger experience on Earth. And I know that I experienced it, but it's just like a distant dream. and it was really big. So I wanted to get back to grounding, flowing. You help people tap what they've already got, discover it, dust it off, whatever you want to call it. Could you talk to us about grounding, barriers, but also just flowing love, healing, whatever the right terminology is?
Yeah, so I definitely encourage everyone to do a morning grounding and protecting practice, exercise, meditation, whatever you want to call it. I really learned the hard way. I was very loose with this and, oh, I'll be fine. I meditated last week or, whatever. And boy, was I shown it really has to be daily. It's a bit like you getting dressed. It it's that kind of a concept in that you're not preparing for the worst. It's not like you're going outside full on raincoat and there's sun, but it might rain. It's just you want to be putting on some layers of protection because there is just stuff out there. And so what I teach is definitely grounding into the crystalline grid of the earth, not just grounding into the core of the earth, because remembering we're on a 3D earth that is busy ascending into 5D. And so the crystalline grid of the earth is the 5D grid of the earth. And so that's what you're wanting to tap into. So I generally say send cords of light from the soles of your feet, surround them in gold light so that they are protected as they're going through all the layers of the earth, and then send it to the center. And then however you see this crystalline core will be right for you. And you just anchor in whatever way is right for you. So literally that could be visualizing an anchor, like a ship's anchor. It could be tying your cords of light, kind of like in a knot or a bow. Or I sometimes send them in and it's almost like roots that then start wrapping round. But whatever you do is right. And then what I do is just breathing that in and you kind of sucking that energy up. So it's some of this crystalline energy. You can almost imagine it that, you're a phone that you've plugged in that you're charging and the battery's now going ding, ding, ding. It's getting charged up. And I draw that crystalline energy up through the soles of my feet. And I actually feel it coming throughout my whole body. And it's just topping it up right to the top of my being. I tend to do 3 of these in breaths. 3 is a powerful number. That feels right to me. But whatever anyone else wants to do, if it's just 1 or they want to do 5 or what, just do whatever feels right. And that really sets me up. Now, especially at any moments during the day where there is any kind of stress or feelings of overwhelm, that's the time that you do that again. Because as soon as you're connected to the Earth's crystalline grid, the stress doesn't just go away, but it helps you to be more able to cope with it because you are grounded, you are centered. And from there, in my meditation tracks, I do various layers of protection. But I guess the most basic that you can do, I generally fill my energy fields with gold light. Now, again, to me, this is you could use gold angelic light, or I use gold light from the great central sun of Sirius. I then put a golden crystal clear and diamond strong layer around the entire outside of that. It's kind of holding that gold energy, gold light in. And then I call on Archangel Michael to bring electric blue fire protection around the outside of that. So Michael is the protector angel. And this is why I love whatever comes for people in the way of angels, how they sense them. Some people see this electric blue fire and they're like, there's Michael. Some people just sense him. Other people see this being coming with a great sword of light and, and it doesn't matter whatever way it comes forward for you. But you can, whether you see, sense or feel, you can ask for that electric blue fire to encapsulate your energy fields. And it tends to burn through and transmute all lower vibrational energy before it reaches your energy fields. And just a little disclaimer, all of this is not foolproof. It is, putting on a raincoat, going out in the rain, and, you're probably still going to get a little damp, but it is at least something that you're not getting completely soaked in a rain shower. All of these things help. And it's definitely a great way to set up the day. I find I'm then more able to go through the day. I do it before I interact with the world. So my phone is on flight mode, you call it flight mode, airplane mode, silent, whatever, all of that all in one. I will not take it off and look at anything, definitely not social media, until I have grounded and protected.
Nice. Okay. Talk to us about down a checklist here, if it's okay. Do you physically lay hands on animals and people? Is it at a distance of like 6 inches? You're a Reiki master, or at least Reiki trained, because I'm not going to have the right lingo, and it might be a sui, but again, you'll tell us. How do you use your hands? Is it different in different situations? You do use your hands, right?
Well, I used to see clients in person, and then certain things happened in the world, and now everything is on Zoom. And actually, I way prefer it. I really miss the animals, I have to say. There are a few animals near me here that I get to say hello to, neighbors. Um, but on a whole, I'm finding for me and just the session in general, working on Zoom. So back when I used to see clients in person, yes, I am a SUI trained. I'm a Reiki Master teacher. I don't, I teach more add-ons, filling in gaps. I don't train people level 1, level 2. Um, but I would, where I am guided, lay hands on or hands off. So the first thing would be to ask the client, if it's a human, are you happy for hands on? Because you'd never just touch a client if they don't want to be. But everything can be done just in the aura where you're holding your hands, say, away from the person. And equally with animals, you need to gauge the animal as well, because some animals really need you to be, a few meters away. And you also need to look at your safety. If this animal has had experiences where it's not safe for you to be close, it is totally fine for you to, do it the other side of an enclosure, or whatever you need to work with, or even have a dog on a leash with the guardian and you're the other side of the room. It all still works, which is amazing, especially on Zoom. I have some people say Zoom, but you're not even in the same room. Our understanding of space and time is very 3D, and once you go 4D, 5D, the whole quantum level is it defies time and space. And the fact that I get results, my favorite is with the animals. When the animals are reacting, I had one lady, I was seeing her in person. She was very reluctant to do a Zoom, and she's like, okay, my dog really needs help. Let's give this a try. She was amazed. She said her dog was doing the kind of licking and chewing that and yawning and staring into space as if I was in the room. She was amazed. Now, you can't tell me that's placebo effect, because nobody is sitting with a dog like you could a human saying, right, Liz is going to send you some healing from Brighton through Zoom. The dog reacts to what they're feeling and sensing around them, and it's the energies.
I love it. Maybe I can blow you some sage. We're going to still get back to the serious discussions here and talking about, other experiences you've had with angels. Maybe talk about sound bowls, compassion, just letting go more to trust the currents. With your permission, I'll do some sage. This is a staple on the show. By that, I mean, we just light some sage, and wherever you are, no matter what year it is, it's 2028, you're in Europe, South Africa, Australia, you can smell the sage.
2024.
Well, yeah, but it might be 4 years in the future. They're watching the recording in the future. So time and space, what Liz just said, is not
Yeah,
applicable. So just let the sage smoke come to you, but why settle for linear when it's a multi-dimensional multiverse?
exactly.
Get some flowers, get ocean smell, Noosa, or something else. So here's some sage, but if anybody at home wants to get lavender, wisteria, I get those comments on YouTube when I blow sage. So that's kind of fun. Please like, subscribe, share, and share something that relates to what Liz has been sharing with us, either what you loved or your version, as she always encourages you to develop your own trust, intuition, skill set so you can own it fully. And Liz, are you catching good old sage? Are you catching sage and flowers or something else?
I definitely feel the kind of cleansing, sage is very cleansing, great for space clearing. I got that initial wave, but it is followed up by blossoms, just kind of pink blossoms, kind of a gentleness. I know sage is not very gentle, but my experience right now was just that the clearing followed up by this lovely soft energy.
Beautiful. And I had stacked the bowl earlier pretty full, so that was a lot of smoke in the little office here. Okay, I might do one more thing. We'll do a couple angels in a little bit, and maybe a light being or something. Just lots of loving energy. But can I put my energy up between my fingers, and then maybe we can put our hands up, but only unconditional love, love and above, no drama, no thinking, no human stuff that's a drag, only for fun, to make the point of what you said about the screen doesn't matter. It's when you think of your cousin overseas and they call you at that moment, or any of the other synchronicity, serendipity would be a great other topic. This takes 10 seconds. I think it's from Celestine Prophecy when they do it this way, but in India, they do it this way. I'm standing, so this way is awkward. I'm going to loosen up a little. And one quick dad joke, Bert and Ernie, Sesame Street, and I better have my fingers on screen. Bert and Ernie, Sesame Street. Bert offers Ernie ice cream. What's Ernie say? He says, "Sure, Bert." And just see a little filament of light between my fingers. People at home, just breathe extra through your mouth if you need a little extra breathing. But if you're a nose breather, breathe more through the nose. And what do you see, Liz, between my fingers?
There's a tiniest of orbs in the middle, and it's like a twirling light.
I'm not crazy. You're not crazy. And last but not least, and then you're going to maybe come up with something energetically. If you wanted a one way with the best boundaries in the world, nothing to bounce back at you in 2029. If too many people do this in the future, you're like, whoa, one day in January of 2029, you're like sending me an email saying, hey, I didn't put enough boundaries on the one-way love we did back in 2024. With your permission, I'll put my hand up. We just connect this way. If you put your hand up, feel the vibe. And feel what you can feel. I'll put Archangel Michael's photo up just to oversee the whole thing. And he's got a little purple in there on the edge. What are you feeling?
Definitely tingles in the fingers.
And I feel warmth, or energy and warmth is how I'd describe it. I'd make a distinction actually today. And then with last wild, crazy thing, if Joy says this is cool, can I whoosh you rainbow light one time like this to you? Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay, it'll only be angels.
With the hand?
Yeah, with this hand, it's like a ping pong ball, but it'll be a rainbow light whoosh to you. Let me loosen up again. Hold on. Okay, and here it comes. And did you feel that on your person, up your back, somewhere?
Like a wave across the whole front, but actually mainly because I kept my hand up, mainly into the hand. It's like catching it with the hand. But I don't know if you'll see this on the playback. As it came through the screen, your screen changed color a little bit, kind of like to a very pale mint color.
I didn't know that. I was looking this way, and I get shy because I'm new to this in the last 6 months, but I was told by angels, you're going to be using your hands a lot more. Get used to it. And so I'm trying to get over, it takes like 1,000 times, 100 times to get unshy about it. So thank you for your patience on that. And that was really cool.
We've got minor chakras in our hands. So people know the major chakras, but we've got minor ones in our hands.
Ooh, tell us just a little more so that people can take that in.
So if you think of an energy healer, whether it's Reiki or any other hands-on modality, there is a minor chakra in the palm of the hand, and that is where the energy is coming out of. So I've had lots of people say to me that if I touch them with my hands while I'm connected to Reiki, they feel such heat from my hands, and it's coming out of that. And you could even just take, like I use pendulums, a lot of pendulums now. If you were to just take anything dangling, it could be your necklace or just anything, and you hold it over your palm without asking a question or anything. You just hold it there. It'll begin to move with the energy that's coming out of the palm of your hand, out of that minor chakra. And that's amazing. Just this thing moving, and you're not even making it move.
Which crystal is that you have on this string?
Oh, this is actually gold.
Oh, gold. Okay.
Yeah, that's
Oh, okay. I couldn't
gold.
see.
But I do have some crystal pendulums. It's just the metal ones are self-clearing. The crystal ones absorb energy, so you have to keep clearing them, especially if you use with clients.
Okay, and now back to that checklist for the Reiki. There's like 50 different categories of Reiki. Some people see the energy and they'll say, "Yeah, no, I'm seeing colors as I'm doing it." Others are like, "No, no, no, I just feel the colors. I know what they are intuitively. It's either third eye or they just know it abstractly, and but they don't see colors directly." And there's many other ways that a human being will do perfectly great for healing through Reiki, if I said it correctly. But the point of this is, which way do you see the colors actively as you're doing it? Are your eyes shut half the time? Are you third eyeing it? Is it all the above? It just depends on the day.
So I don't necessarily have colors coming out. I mean, there can be colors involved, but this is essentially, I am a transmitter for just pure universal energy that comes in through my chakra, my crown chakra, and then out of the chakras in my hands. And it goes to the person or the animal. And I will get sensations sometimes. I definitely, I'm the type of person who'll feel a lot in my hands. I'll also feel where I need to stay or move on. And that's even here at home. So what I'll do when I'm seeing someone, I will turn my chair around and I visualize them here. And I do it as if they're lying here in the room with me. And I will get maybe third eye stuff. So in my mind's eye, I will see things, but I also go very much by what I feel in my hands. But this is just me. It's right for me.
Mhm.
There was somebody on one of my very first Reiki courses that I went to who felt nothing in their hands. However, whoever they were paired up with, because we did swaps, while you're learning and practicing on each other, and whoever they were paired with could feel the energy coming in. So it kind of validated that energy is still coming through them, even if their hands don't heat up or they don't feel the tingling or anything like that. So don't get hung up if you're not seeing, sensing, or feeling how other people do. It again, it comes down to whatever's right for the individual and their own experience. But we can all channel, whether you train in Reiki or any other healing, we can all channel the pure, loving, divine source energy through us. And we don't necessarily need to get hung up on, well, I'm not feeling the heat like the person next to me, so I must be doing it wrong. It'll come through in the way it's meant to.
Uh,
And it also, it's down to the receiver as well. I've only had nothing in my hands once, and that person had verbally said yes, they want Reiki, because I think they were struggling with headaches and all of that, but they actually didn't want it.
hmm.
And rather than just being honest with me, thanks, Liz, for your offer, but that's not for me, which is fine. They felt they had to say yes. But that was an incredible experience for me that I thank them
I've got an angel that
because,
just flew in right here. And that was me reacting to a white ball light in my vision. So it's Jamie who's still flying around right now. Sorry about that. I literally in like 1 inch from my face, and you just saw me react.
wow,
So cool. Jamie's one of my Secret Service protector slash photography angels, and she's wonderful. Sorry about the interruption. I loved what you were
that's
saying
okay.
about the client not wanting Reiki and didn't know how to say it out loud.
Because in that experience, because I'd been told, if somebody doesn't want Reiki, this is what will happen, and all of this, and you have to ask their permission, you have to ask their higher selves. And in that moment, I got to experience that for me personally, if somebody does not want Reiki, whether it's a person or an animal, it simply will not flow from my hands.
Hmm.
And so while I do still, ask permission, sometimes psychically, I know fundamentally that I will never end up giving Reiki or healing to somebody who does not want it. Because there is ethics involved. You don't just, well, it's good for them, they must have it.
Is we can call it divine timing too. I mean, there's a right time, right place, and things just tend to work out when they're meant to work out, right?
Well, yeah, I did level 2 with the Reiki. And I was being nudged to do the master, and I was like, forget it, I'm not doing it. And because I'm not a Reiki purist.
Yeah.
Whereas the Reiki masters around me at the time were all Reiki purists, and you've got to eat, sleep, breathe Reiki. Your life is Reiki. And I'm not like that. And finally, I got nudged enough by the universe that actually I had people verbally saying, you should do the master level, you should do the master level. And so I sat with it in meditation and kind of asked for guidance. I don't want to be like these other Reiki masters that I have met. It's not my whole life. And I still got, do it. It doesn't have to be. And that's right for them. And what's right for me is to amalgamate all sorts of things. So right now, Reiki forms a small part of my sessions. Sometimes it can be a larger portion, but I'm actually using a lot more of the pendulum work. And I've found doing pendulum work beforehand, certain clearings, helps the Reiki take better effect. I don't know if this is quite the show for it, but you can get programs that can run a bit like a computer program that you can do Reiki, but a program will remanifest what you've just cleared.
Mm.
And so I was seeing clients where they come back to me with the exact same issue, and it's like, well, this is quite frustrating, isn't it?
Mm.
And then when I did some of the pendulum courses and do certain clearings, and then you can do Reiki and it actually holds.
Mm. Very interesting. Okay, wanted to get back to the checklist though, because let me ask it a different way. That was fascinating. When you've walked into a cocktail party room and you want to know, let's say you don't know anybody, your friends still haven't arrived, it's 50 people in a room, it's a great setting. You're just not sure because there's group A, B, C, D, there's little gaggles and 6 people over there. Can you see auras on folks and know naturally which group you should pick? Beyond the third eye and beyond the, you just know they've got great smiles over there and they're already looking your way. Have you ever seen auras on folks all the time? You shut it off and you only do it once a year. Where are you on the physically seeing auras on animals, plants, people, anything else? How and when and where are you on that whole front?
So I'm more third eye, that sort of thing. If you have a plain background behind you, like a white wall or something, and I soften my eyes, I can see the first layer of the aura, but I'm not one of those people who sees colors and, all of that in the aura. I don't. But I have this knowing.
Do you want, I've never done this on the show, but do you want to do it right now and actually see a little extra color? No pressure on you. I'm holding up 2 highlighters as distractions for everybody. Blue and orange kind of matching us here. That was random. But my point is, if you look at my nose and then go to my forehead, and I go on an old surf bodyboarding trip, you'll see it, but you can see colors. Can I be your guinea pig for 2 seconds?
Okay.
Okay, so I'm giving permission, and who cares? And this is just an example to everybody. Is it Braveheart? No violence, not the movie Braveheart. Just be open and give it a go. But maybe we're talking about Reiki or something else. Take a class that you didn't know you wanted to take. And then I'm going to try to let go as much as possible and flare up, if that's an expression. Are you seeing a little bit, a lot, nada?
It's really just the one section. It would be your right cheek, because you've got the whole bookcase behind you, and there's just a little bit of wall that was by your right cheek that
Okay.
I could get just a snippet there. But I'm very much more someone who sees with the third eye rather than the physical.
I'm totally kidding. But that was still really cool because again, it's Zoom screens. Have we said this 10 years ago, we're going to do this in the future, we'd be like, whoa, Zoom wasn't accepted. I think that was the greatest thing that happened from the pandemic because there wasn't a lot of great stuff that happened, but Zoom is absolutely accepted now. I think most people are really comfortable. Speaking of which, what have you gotten more comfortable with nowadays versus, the tug back and forth in the old days? And even if the old days were just 2 years ago, what are you much more comfortable with today than you were like 2022, 2019?
I think just owning what feels right for me and what resonates with me. A few years ago, even after when I did some of the courses, I I guess I was very wishy-washy, and I wasn't firm in my own experience. And I was so worried about, am I doing it right, and focusing on other people's experiences, that something happened. I witnessed an accident, and I sent Reiki to the situation, because, while they say Reiki does no harm, they do warn, don't run up to somebody who's just broken a bone and start giving Reiki, because it has the potential, it may or may not happen, but it has the potential to start knitting the bone before, it's been set in the correct way. And so best thing in an accident is send it to the situation. I had two friends who were healers who came down heavy on me saying, you shouldn't do that, you did the wrong thing. And I really beat myself up about this. And I was like, oh my gosh, I think I've done the wrong thing, but I was taught this. And I was just so insecure.
Mm.
And whereas now I'm very much more grounded in my own experiences and my own intuition. I'm trusting a lot more that not that that has happened again, but I know that if that were to happen, then I would be able to just explain, if it needed to be explained, that, well, actually, I did not go and touch the person, and giving Reiki to a situation actually would call on angels. It's for the highest and greatest good. And, I think I'd be able to handle that a lot better rather than immediately doubt myself.
Yeah. Okay, so I think Archangel Michael said to me, because I always do questions, and I don't have it in this room, but he said something like, I was just asking about the big picture of the path, because it ebbs and flows. You meet a lot of people, things happen. You're human. You're going to ask, well, where am I today? Or in the grand scheme of things, am I pushing hard enough? Should I let go? Should I just go with the flow? And Archangel Michael said something about just trust in your knowing, meaning like your past experiences, your experiences. And also my guardian angel said, don't trust the path then and now. Like, no, respect the path then and now. And I love that. I really like that. What I wanted to ask you though is, how do you own your inner fearless, peaceful warrior self, your authentic healing inner core, your light, standing in your light? There's a million ways to say this expression that you just touched on. Do you have a way that you remind yourself once a week? Is it the grounding exercise in the morning, or do you once in a while swing your elbows out, look in the mirror and go, I'm pretty amazing, and I got to give you a compliment and smile a lot and say, Liz, you're the, and I don't have the English expression for it. You're the, in Texas, you're the blue bonnet of all the blue bonnets. How do you remind yourself and keep it light that you're the bomb, a love bomb?
Oh, I don't know, 'cause I don't do any of that.
You
I'm
just
trying to
know
think.
it beyond words. Is that a fair way to say it? How do you were just touching on this, and that's what I wanted to ask about a little more. When did that transition exactly take place that you started to just have that extra confidence and
I
swagger?
think it was a process. It wasn't just overnight.
Okay.
I did have to go through the dark night of the soul and, all of that, but it was gradually building more confidence, and actually with the help of some loving people around me, and of course the angels. And look, I'd say that I still don't have it down. Like I just released a video, Starseeds and Imposter Syndrome, and I was even a bit nervous to put it out. And I'm literally speaking about, just get yourself out there, whatever you're doing is great, and, feel the fear and do it anyway type thing. And but yeah, so I haven't aced this, but what I do try focus on, I'd say day to day, is if I've done something, to give myself that little praise. So it's not like I look in the mirror and do that kind of thing. You get the I don't quite do that in the mirror. But like, for example, one of the things that I love doing, because I need tactile creativity in my life,
Mm.
and I ended up buying about 50, you call them like diamante stars. So it's a star type bead that shines a bit like a diamond. And I sewed them on a t-shirt dress, and I finally finished it. And just to look at this and admire it and be like, wow, I've just sewn on like more than 50 of these things. I really love the result. And that's really great. You know, that kind of a thing is just celebrating these types of things for me and in my life. Or or even like one of my YouTube videos hit a certain number of plays and just, I mean, I was really surprised. But just to kind of go, yeah, and like my partner and I, we do baby five. So, you know, you've got high five, we do baby five. So we, you know, put the fingers together and essentially we do this, we go, and it's these little things, it's a little celebration of the achievements, the wins, whatever you want to call them. And that's what helps give motivation. Because I think we live very much in a culture and society where, especially if you're in employed work, is you keep looking to the next promotion, the next promotion. Once you get the promotion, you're already looking to the next promotion, you know. And it's this destination obsession where once you reach that promotion or whatever, you know, goal that you're trying to reach, it's very quick to move on to the next one rather than just be like, hey, I just reached this goal. Yeah. And celebrating that. So I think in trying to answer your question, it's just trying to find the celebration day to day, week to week, month to month. And that just brings a much higher vibe in my field. And yeah, I think with that brings confidence. If we're feeling higher vibe, then we have a bit more confidence in ourselves and our intuition and what we're putting out to the world.
Nice. Okay, speaking of higher vibe, can you share with us about like angel singing? What will you allow for from the universe, from angels, from the multiverse, cosmos? Have you had an experience with angels singing to you?
Yeah, so when I lived in London, because when I moved from South Africa to the UK, I lived in London for about 12 years. And I used to go to evenings of chant and mantra and some gong baths. I still have the odd gong bath, but it was in those environments that not all the time, but occasionally I would hear angels singing. And I think the first time I was aware of it, we were doing mantra. So I actually thought it was somebody who was there, who was maybe a professional singer. I thought, wow, nice that they're here. And then afterwards, it was a person facilitating um, who brought it up. And a few people said, oh, yeah, I heard that. And then it was confirmed that no, it was not anybody there. And of course, the skeptic, it's like, really, really, I'm sure they had a singer there. But I've had it enough times. It was not in the same group environment that it really is. I mean, it sounds like a professional choir. It's just so amazing. But I think um, the difference I feel is when we sing and create music, whether we're talented or not, I sense the angels enjoying it, and it's almost like a calling to them. Whereas I sense this angel singing as more of a gift rather than the energy kind of going up to them. I feel that energy coming down, and it's very soothing and even kind of energizing to the cells. You know, there's a bit of a buzz through there. So yeah,
Well,
the angels singing.
speaking of gifts, maybe we'll have angels singing. It's not too much to ask for. And at home, you might have to close your eyes. Some people have to have it eyes closed. Some people don't care. It's just like what Liz said, spin the wheel, whichever which way is good for you. But I'll put up Joy's photo, an angel who's the emotion joy, ambassador communicator. And that just means picture her as doing the heavy lifting. And if it's an American baseball analogy, you're just given the biggest catcher's mitt, like the whole team's mitts woven together into a big catcher's mitt. You don't have to be the pitcher, the batter, the outfielder. You don't even have to eat the popcorn. Just hold the mitt, receive, 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 allow, and receive. And this is free will, so set your intent. But here's joy. We'll let Liz sip on tea.
Just filling my teacup.
Yeah, so I've only got one rule or bit of structure, and in 12 years of this, it is, ask angels to make it nice, like angels, get me out of my head, into my heart, help me receive the smell of the sage. An answer, a hug. And what I would also recommend is if you view this as juggling 5 balls at once, pretend you put your hand up to Joy's photo. People have done this on other shows. and feel the vibe, that's 1 ball juggling. If you want to smell flowers, that's 2. If you want to whoosh down your back or up your back or just sparkle or warmth, that's a hug. That's 3 or 4, whatever number I'm at. You can ask a question, that's 5. The brain can only block 1 or 2 balls. If you've got a really heavy intellect and it's like an incredible ego, the biplane actually has more than half a tank of gas. Maybe your ego could block 3 balls, but my point is something's going to get through. You're going to hear the singing of angels. That's a 6th or 7th ball. So Liz, can we use you as not a guinea pig, but as a willing participant? And you've done this before with Joy. Can you interact at like a bunch of levels? Maybe she can talk to you directly, get a hug, see pink light. Folks at home can play around with this as much as they want. You interact however you wish. And if you don't mind at some point though, sharing with us what you're getting from I was gonna say Liz, from Joy, and anything topical wise, she's gonna have something that you are already ready to go on.
I'm definitely feeling additional grounding coming from my feet down into the earth. So it's almost like I think specifically for me in my life right now is ground myself and then more joy is going to come. But then coupled with that is just find joy in the silly things. But I think this is for everyone, is there can be joy. It doesn't have to be like a big event planned or anything like that, or like, right, we're going to do something now that is going to bring joy. It can be the very simple things, you know, like eating your favorite food, or even just taking an Epsom salt bath, just something. But I definitely sensed a lot of like sparkly pink energy. And although she's an angel, it reminded me with the sparkly pink energy is, you know, to have that childlike fun, and you can call on fairies as well for that sort of thing. And, you know, viewing the world through the eyes of a child is very different to our experience, in that they can find complete wonderment, even just looking at a flower or a crystal. I mean, I love crystals, but to sometimes see the reaction of a child with a crystal, it's like you've given them the most expensive jewel, and it's like, oh, wow.
And I have a fairy, if we're not going off too far on tangent, but there's Ginger. She's fun. And there's Rainbow Light. That's Ginger. I'll just get her close. You can see the rainbow light over her, but if anybody wants to connect, she's got a higher pitched voice than Joy, more like wee. And typically she shows up as silver light. It doesn't mean they can't do any color light. Joy, even though she's pink, has been yellow before in other colors. It's whatever a person will allow for. But what do you have from Ginger for us?
Just trying to find the fun. I think a bit like what Joy was saying, is that, you know, this human experience is not all about the slog and the grind and, you know, got to make money to pay the rent, the mortgage, the bills, and all of that. Is just find ways to bring that childlike fun in, which I think a lot of us have lost to some extent, some of us bringing it back. And there is a big difference between being childish and being childlike. And it's kind of like that fairy energy of Ginger's. It can help to connect us with the inner child. Because again, without trying to get low vibe, a lot of us can have wounded inner children. And it's through the fun, the play, and calling on fairies like Ginger and angels like Joy that healing can come about with the inner children. And literally that could be doodling, it could be painting, and doing these activities that we used to do as children and possibly haven't done for years, that can bring healing in the form of joy and fun.
Love it. I'll put up a photo of 4 archangels in light energy form. They're going to look like rainbow pie slices, although here's Gabriel and Michael one way, just sort of individually, but here they are, and got them over my home. As there's 7 of them, and it's more vortex-like. I'll see if I can pull that up on my phone while we're doing this. But Gabriel, Michael, Raphael, and Uriel, or as a guest said the other day, Oriel, with the or.
Yeah, I say Uriel. I've heard
Yeah.
some people roll the R's as Uriel.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was probably trying to say. So, and I have one more of all the archangels. I'll see if I can get that up here. That I heard step out of my living room. This is like 2010, 2014, 2012, and go take a photo over the house. And that was the photo.
Wow.
So either way, you got 7 of them. It doesn't. Zadkiel, Shamiel, Jophiel are the other 3 as I've learned it. But again, these names, oh my God, complex. Okay. Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, Uriel, and this one, what are you getting? And I totally forgot. If you want to hear singing at home, maybe close your eyes on this one. I don't know. I always like it when people leave their eyes open because then we all close our eyes more. But hear what you can hear, allow for what you can allow for. Maybe it's kind of like that, The Big Chill. There was that Rolling Stones song that opened up that movie and a great choir in it. And maybe you can hear a modern version of that.
I'm actually getting more, and again, to reiterate that not everyone is going to hear with the ears, but more in the head. While I have heard angels singing with my ears, in this instance, it was more kind of in my head, so to speak. And instead of singing like voices, it was more a gentle music, which was quite nice.
Nice.
And incidentally, those are the 4 angels that I call to hold the horizontal plane when I open up sessions, events, Zoom, and then I get Metatron above and Sandalphon below, and it's all contained.
Nice.
So
Only 1 or 2 more photos of angels. It'll be Charlotte and maybe Dale if you want Dale. Here's Charlotte, teacher with words meant to help everybody expand. If it's 3rd form or 3rd grade and it's Mrs. Johansson, Mrs. Wilson, think of the nicest teacher you remember, the one who didn't get you in trouble, whoever is out there watching, listening. And if you want to put your hand up to the photo, you can feel what you want to feel. If you want to feel it just with your body and let your body be the antenna. And she speaks all languages, dialects. So if you're from another country and you want to get it in, German, get it in German, Swahili, Japanese. What will you allow for is my final reminder to folks. It's a lot easier to not allow and to know something that blocks possibility. And Liz, either what's Charlotte reminding you of, or what does she have for us? Whichever way you want to roll with this.
I think it's more a message for the listeners, if this resonates with anyone, is that everyone plays a part in this ascension journey. And nobody is better than another person. We're all integral to all of this. And at a 3D level, you could look at a whole big company organization. Everyone plays their part and everyone is important, even the person who makes sure that the coffee and the tea is topped up, that is needed. So just to know that everyone needs to be here.
And can you define ascension? Because back, I remember in the day, again, when I was running into people nonstop, you just, you have all this serendipitous stuff, an intuitive suddenly stops you and tells you something in Austin. People were using the word ascension a lot. Can you describe it a different way for folks? Is it just expansion of consciousness for mankind? How else would you describe it for, what is it for mankind? Our opportunity for growth, expansion, more happiness, more peace? I did the best I could there.
So in a nutshell, because I see time is getting on,
Yes.
Earth is currently, our experience of it is 3D. However, Earth itself has already been raising in vibration, and my personal perception of it is that humanity is needing to catch up, and we're doing a slow job at this, and so light workers are coming in to really help progress this ascension, because it is happening anyway. And so we are transitioning from 3D to 5D. So that's 3rd dimensional to 5th dimensional. And with that, a lot of people are experiencing even ascension symptoms, and it's the influx of energies that they say over time, the body is going to change from carbon-based to crystalline-based. Because if you look at, for those of you who do believe in life on other planets and star beings, you get these star races who are of a crystalline body and they don't have the physical form of a body, and their vibrations. So we all vibrate. Even a table vibrates. Everything is energy, and the fact that a table is solid, it's a denser energy than, say, a liquid or light. And so we are raising in vibration, and eventually, I don't think anytime soon, there would be no physical body, but that's a long time to come. There's a lot that has to happen in between. And what's happening now really is this transition period where it is shaking up a lot of stuff. It sounds all lovely. Oh, we're ascending and we're becoming light beings and all of this. But all the stuff underneath has to be sorted out. And that's why you see around the globe, a lot is being shaken up. But like they say, no mud, no lotus. So it is all for the good. These things have to come up and out. And yeah.
I never get my American expressions exactly right, but I think it's you have to crack a few eggs to make an omelet. So
yeah, there you go. Exactly.
Well, Liz Finlay in Brighton, England, thank you so much for coming on. You've been a total treat, pleasure, and totally game for all the different steps we took on air. So I have to thank you profusely for gracing us here on the show. Thank you.
Well, thanks for having me.
Well, it's a pleasure. Welcome to Angels, Positivity, and Love. And please at home, subscribe, like, comment, share what part of this resonated the most. What did you feel? What did you smell, see, hear? What part of Liz's journey do you want to relate to? All comments are good. They have to be, because otherwise they get taken off. So stick to the positive. That's my last bit of advice. Liz, happy 2024. Hopefully we'll see you soon.
Yes, thanks, Michael.
Take care.
Bye.